through all sorts of stuff. And yeah, so I've driven further than that, all in other parts of the country as well. And it all started with that one thing, that I did. So have faith in yourself, people. And if you have faith in yourself, others might have faith in you. A wise man once told me that. I know it's kind of tedious doing the coloring, it pays off though, We want to make these guys as loud looking as possible, Loud looking as possible. Yeah, so that's what we'll do. We'll just talk about random stuff on the live stream. Stories from my life. I've collected some decent stories at my age, and I used to be a bit of a hooligan, so... And I bartended for years and got some good stories from that. Got some good stories. Got some decent stories from North Dakota. I was out there to work, so I don't have a shitload of stories from being out there, but wherever I go over a tiny bit, I'll have to clean it up with a pen like such. Even though this is a photocopy. The paper reacts different, when you have, opposed to like a sketch pad. This is just a copy paper, so, now it looks like the predator's looking at it, Alright, so we got our main people almost done. I kind of want to darken up these guys' suits. They look kind of flat. Kind of want to, do some kind of dark shading on that. I don't know what I got that's darker, though. Let me see what they got going on here. Is that this? I think that's the same marker. Maybe if I go over it again, it'll kind of clean it up a little. Yep, they went and snatched freaking Maduro in the middle of the night at his house when he was taking a shit. How fucking crazy is that? That couldn't have happened without help from the inside. You can't, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to dog the Delta Force or anything, like that, but I'm just saying, that level of behind the lines, it just seems like it would be... It just seems like it would be something that the freaking, that had help. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Had to have had some kind of help, right? So these guys in the background here, you'll see these little... There's other, like... Basically the whole scene here, if you can't see it, I mean, I'm sure you can, but not to insult your intelligence, but imagine we're a wall in a hallway. And it turns into the kitchen where this lady is doing the dishes, looking out the window. It's a nice summer day. She's putting the dishes up, whatever. This freaking cat that's always up to no good is watching this crane that's coming out of this wall. That's a temporal portal that's opened up. And there's a whole operation going on in this room, in this dimension where these elves are at. And he's got this whole freaking crane. He's getting your car keys. There's other ones helping him do it, and there's other ones in the background doing it too. This one is up here, you see his little feet and his hat and everything and his crane, and this one's doing the same thing. So basically I want this whole background to look kind of dreamy. That's why they're not very detailed. They're kind of light looking, not too much focus is to be on them really. And yeah. That's what the back ones look like, and we'll basically make them very light. We're gonna make the background a whole flat color and then very lightly extenuate those guys. You'll see. I just gotta pick a color. I kind of want it to be real, almost like. We'll see what this color produces here. See if this is what I'm looking for. Nope, that's almost dead. Just gonna get rid of that marker. How about... Almost looking for like a robin's egg, Something like them all stuffed up. Here we go, what we got here. That one would do, there's just not a lot of it. I think we'll use it in conjunction with like... What about this guy? What's this guy look like? What do we got here? Man, all these fucking markers are shit. Hold up. Gotta get all new ones, I guess. Get all new ones. Man, crazy. You're doing too much color in it. This is how it is. We just have to make something work. Have to just spread it around, I guess. Yeah, something, I let these markers sit for a while. And because I did that, they're all dried out now. So don't do what I did. Don't let your alcohol markers sit around. We have to get what we can out of them. Get what we can, people. Get what we can. So anyway, like I was saying, they snatched Maduro, right out of his freaking house. That's just crazy to me. They were able to do that, without help. That's why I think they had help from the inside. And, Venezuela is a very corrupt country. And it's not out of the vein of possibility, out of the realm of possibility that, somebody on the inside said, hey man, I'll turn off the radar and the freaking missiles at 9:15, and you go in there and do whatever you gotta do. That's not too far out of the realm. Not for me to believe, at least. Who knows what they're gonna do with them now? What happens now? Is that the 51st state? Like, what's up? What do we do? We should turn the whole fucking North and South America into one big thing. I mean, why not? We're already attached. We're already, right next to each other. We already do business with each other. So it's like, I don't see why not. And then extend the quality of life down from America. It would create a lot of jobs too, when you think about it. If North and South and Central America teamed up and became one big entity, we'd have to do something about cartels, but whatever. And it's not like it would be the first time the government worked with the cartels, right? But, yeah, all the resources, the land's already connected, so logistics could be easy or easier. There's plenty of people for business, for labor. Most people already speak English. A lot of people do. It seems like damn near every Mexican I've ever met speaks English too. Maybe it's just because all the ones I met were in California when I was a kid, but so we're trying to juice this pin for everything we can before we get rid of it. But yeah, turn North and South America into a thing. And see what happens, right? I can't see how it would work. America would want to be running shit. Latin people are very proud, so they wouldn't want to listen to fucking dumbass Americans. So, I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't work out. Maybe it wouldn't. Be a nice thought, though. If you extend the quality of life to all these other countries, they would stop coming here so much. And from there, you could, rebuild America somewhat. But yeah, it would be a lot of work. Eventually, we're all gonna have to unite and get along. We're all on the same fucking planet, so... Oh, this is making the paper kind of wet. we're trying to get it kind of a uniform look. Yep. Yeah, because asteroids aren't going to care about people and borders and shit. So, I don't know. And what's the world like if it's all one thing, you know? Like, what's the predominant culture? Is there a predominant culture? Is it just like nouveau modern day culture? Whatever the hell that is. You know, like, where does it, you know, where does it go? So, be interesting to see what the world would be like if it all just blended together. There's always somebody that wants to be on top, you know? Who would it be? There's always people that want to be on top, and there's always people that don't give a shit. They were willing to be led. So, I kind of like the idea of how it was on Firefly. The Alliance was like this freaking Anglo-Chinese thing, which makes sense, like an American-Chinese alliance, I guess. And that's kind of what, you know, united the world. And I'm like, well, I could see that too. That would be cool. China's got a lot to offer. You know, I know they shunned their history when they adopted communism, but they do like to bring it up when they're trying to trump America, you know? When they're trying to say, well, you've only been around for 250 years. We've been around for 5,000. But it's like, no, actually, you've only been around for like 70. Because you've, you know, forsaken your heritage and all the knowledge and all that stuff in the great purges of the Maoist era. You know, the intellectual purges of anybody that had any kind of influence or intelligence, anybody that would stick up for the old world, you know. When communism takes over, they gotta step on those people, you know. Sorry if I sound stuffy. When I'm leaned over like this, it makes me drain, you know. It just makes me stuffy, so. But yeah, you know, it's like when that kind of shit happens, those people are taken out, you know, the smart people, the people that ask why are the first ones taken out. And that's why those revolutions usually happen at the hands of younger people, because, you know, statistically, younger people are easier to manipulate than older people. Just because they got less experience in the world, and it's nothing against young people. Not saying they're dumb or anything. It's just they just have less experience, and it's easier to manipulate them. It's easy to manipulate adults too. Don't get me wrong, but that's how most of those revolutions happen. At the hands of younglings. Listen. True story. So, you know, the great thing about coloring pages like this is, even though it seems kind of tedious, it can be therapeutic in a way for a lot of people. That's how those coloring books took off so much. That's where I got the idea for this book. You know, this is a page in a book that I tried to publish on KDP, and did publish it once, but didn't like the cover and tried to redo it, and they redid it and then said they couldn't do it, and then ever since then say they can't do it. But this is just a page that's in that book, you know. So, in that craze, and that's when I made this. I made this in that fucking, you know, coloring book craze that was going on at the time of like the 17, 18, 16, 17, that kind of time frame. Trying to find something for this portal here. It needs to be light enough, but dark enough. Let's see what this color does. It's even alive. Wow, fucking one that works. Holy smokes. Okay, so we're gonna draw this portal thing here now. Let's see if the other side works. We're doing both. And like I said before, people, this will probably end up being a couple part, thing coloring this because it takes a little bit. So our portal wall is going to be this sick blue looking color here. Dark aqua, or what is it? I don't know. I'm looking for a color I see made in China. It's like, that's where we went wrong. No, I'm just playing. Where am I? But yeah, the Alliance, that was the most believable out of all the, possible future things. Because it made sense. I was like, that makes sense. An American and Chinese, if not even an alliance, but like a cooperative, kind of a, if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing, but on both sides, Because let's get real, China's never going to stop, and neither is America. So what do? When an immovable object meets an unstoppable force or whatever, it's, you might as well just work together. It's not like America has to become communist, and it's not like China has to become America. Westernized or whatever. I wouldn't even say westernized anymore. Because Europe is so far out of sync with America, European values, and what they... I mean, look at Europe right now. Look what they're doing to themselves. Not even with the... You might be thinking, oh, what, the immigration? Well, yeah, that's a big part of it. That is a big part of it. But the other parts is just how totalitarian they are on their population when it comes to the control of speech, when it comes to the control of money and property. I mean, you can literally go to jail for just talking some shit to somebody, on a Twitter post or something. Somebody can say, I'm grossly offended by that. So it's like, so you're telling me you're being grossly offended is worth me going to jail for, 3 years or something? These people are going to jail for years, a couple of years at a crack. All over Europe, and especially in the UK. And it's like, dude, I've been offended before. I've had people tell me to stick, something up my son, and it's like, I wouldn't want them to be thrown